Hello, Anna. First of all, thank you for joining. So today we have Anna from GraphOps. Anna is leading the infrastructure in this indexer. So we start with our questions, Anna. So the first question, as you know, our initiative is about women in crypto. And traditionally, the IT world has been predominantly a male-dominated field, while it seems in Web3 there are increasingly more women involved. Do you agree with this opinion, and why do you think Web3 is different from the classical IT world?
First of all, hello, Paolo. It's very nice to be here and speak to you. And thank you for inviting me. In terms of what I've, I'm seeing in the world of Web3, I would start by differentiating between women engineers in IT, women engineers in Web3, and then women in the business space. Because there are a lot of women in IT that are in the business space, and while they experience a male-dominated field, their experience will be very different to the women engineers that are working day to day in that field. So I would like to clarify if you mean engineers, women engineers, or you mean just in general all women in Web3.
Yeah, no, basically in on both sides, because
Mhm.
for sure, yes, thank you for your comments, because actually what we see mainly is the business side, and you're totally right. And actually it's interesting now, and the reason why we want to do this initiative is also to show that there are also women on the technical side. So based on your experience, did you notice something different from, I mean, the traditional IT world, or it's
So
the
yes, so
same?
I have noticed a few things. So first of all, I agree with you that there are more women overall in Web3 than in the IT world. In terms of engineering in Web3, um, I found that there are very few women. However, there is a major difference between Web3 and the IT world, and that is right now Web3 has a big purpose and is very inclusive, and it gives you a lot of the sense of purpose from a life choice point of view that I would argue that IT world wouldn't give us. So so there are some differences. I would also say that while there is this sense of purpose that's really cool, Web3 is also a very complex space, so it can be very intimidating, and um, it involves a certain level of risk because it's a very new space. As a woman, I think I would have, if I didn't get into the space like I did, I would have thought twice before doing it, because I am a very risk averse person. But that's just my experience. I'm really excited to see more women in Web3, and yeah, really exciting to help as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was really interesting. Thank you. And another question, how did you discover the graph, and when did you get involved with the ecosystem?
So a friend of mine who I've worked with a few years before, Chris Vessels, who runs GraphOps, has been involved with the graph for I think just under a year. I might be wrong, but yeah, he has been involved with the graph for a while, and he contacted me, um, and he's really good at selling. And straight away, I was very taken by the mission and the promise of basically building a better world. That's the main reason why I got involved. And the extra bit that really convinced me to join the ecosystem was listening to all of the podcast episodes of GRTIQ. And I actually remember one of the ones that had the biggest impact on me was from a fellow woman in Web3. It was Tegan Klein. Um, yeah, but that's
Yeah,
how I got in.
yes, we all know GRTIQ, and it was also for me the same. I mean, the one of the reasons why I joined Web3 by listening to this great podcast. So yeah. And another question: what are at the moment the project activities on your roadmap for this year in GraphOps?
So in GraphOps, I'm mainly working the indexer infrastructure, so scaling it and making it highly available. And I'm also working on ways to help other indexers to manage their infrastructure better. I think we have some gaps in how most indexers manage infrastructures today, and yeah, I'm planning to bring a lot on content on that side, and I'm also excited to make sure I can influence as many people as possible to join the Graph community.
Thank you, Anna. And what would you like to see the Graph accomplish in the near future?
That's a very good question. I think for now, because I'm quite new to the Graph, I've been here 3-4 months. So I think for now, what I want to see accomplished is basically everything we have in the pipeline. I don't think that's unrealistic, but it will be very interesting to see how this whole space develops and what that means for the classical IT world, because I can tell you I've noticed a lot of people have been quitting their traditional IT jobs to move into this space, and I know that the IT world is really struggling with resources. So I'm just very interested on that side to see how everything develops.
Thank you. Interesting. And also about you said before about, Web3 is also somehow overwhelming, is can be, discourage people, no, because of the complexity. So what advice would you give to new people wanting to enter Web3, and especially women who may be deterred from entering the space? Any suggestions?
Yes. So first of all, I would say start with GRTIQ. So listen to that. That makes it, once you get all of those different terminologies in your head, then you sort of start making sense of what's happening. Sorry, this is more for the Graph communities, but so let me give you for the Graph, and then I'll give you for Web3. So in terms of people wanting to join the Graph, I'd say start with GRTIQ, then join the Discord channel for the Graph protocol, and don't be afraid to ask people, because I worked with a lot of really nice people in my career, but I probably would say that the people I've worked in Web3 have been the nicest people I've ever worked with, and I've never received any judgment from any question, no matter how silly it was. So that's for Graph. For Web3 in general, I feel like at this point I can't speak for the whole Web3 ecosystem, but I have noticed that there's a big Twitter presence for anyone who's on Web3. So I would say start with Twitter, and let me take it back to you, because yeah, I don't feel like I have good enough advice for the whole Web3, but for the Graph community I do. So what would you say for someone who's trying to get into Web3?
Well, I think you said something interesting about the people in Web3, and the fact that people are so willing to help each other, and there is no judgment. Is also, you quote about inclusivity. I think that the suggestion that I will tell is to be curious, to not be afraid to ask, to look for information, blogs, reading on Twitter, listening to podcasts, and joining, for example, some Telegram or Discord communities, and really ask questions. This was also my same experience. And as you said, I started also to ask maybe silly question, but no one was judging. So just be curious, and start to ask for guidance, because we will always find exceptional people really keen to help everyone. So that is,
And the other thing I would say is probably one of the reasons why we don't see that many women engineers in Web3 is because there's still a lot of, you can still find a lot of content online of why crypto is not a thing, why Web3 is not a good idea, why a decentralized internet is not a good idea, and all of these things. And I think like maybe we need to do more to address those counterpoints. But at the same time, every single new technology has a lot of pushback before it gets implemented. So maybe this is just a sign that what we're building is something that's gonna be a major part of the world.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, it's right also about information, having also good resources. For example, in the case of the Graph, it's probably one of the projects that has a really big ecosystem. And for example, there is also the Graph Academy that launched recently also certificates program. And we have a lot of advocates like Nader, that you probably know, Nader Dabi, tutorial. So, and then we have also non-official communities like Graph pronouns. So it is a really vibrant ecosystem, the Graph, and full of a lot of people. And there is also the Graph Foundation with a lot of grants, so to improve the knowledge and to spread the knowledge about Web3 and crypto. So yeah, for sure, this is a lot ongoing on this field, also on, making people more aware. And so to conclude, sorry, Anna. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and I noticed that there's the Graph Advocates program that was launched recently, and there's a new wave of Graph advocates coming up, and that's a great way to get more people in, and I hope to be part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Yes, it's true. Thank you that you mentioned also the Advocates program, because it is yet another great initiative from the Graph Foundation to make more people aware and to create an even bigger community for Web3. So thank you, for quoting. And to conclude our interview, just some very quick and funny questions. So this is not Web3 related, but just to get to know yourself better. So what's your favorite animal?
This is actually a hard question for me, because I recently became a very animal crazy person, but because I have 2 dogs, now I have to say that dogs are my favorite animal. They would hear me and they would tell on me if I didn't say that.
We are before the dogs. Yeah, I knew the answer already.
Before the dogs, probably like tiny babies of anything, kitties, chickens, anything that's a tiny baby.
And if you could have any superpower, what will be the superpower? What will you choose?
I probably would say not the most practical superpower in today's day and age, but I would choose flying, just because of the freedom feeling you'd get, the wind blowing in your face while you're flying.
Interesting, yeah. And if
what
you
would
could,
be your superpower?
Superpower, I think strength, to be super strength, like Superman, not really flying, but having this super strength, probably. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't need the strength because I would just fly away.
And instead, if you could time travel to any era or event, specific time, when and where will be?
I think I would go back to uni for me. So it's very specific, very close to recent time, but it's just back to uni, just because the world didn't seem as crazy as it is today. At least from my young mind, I there weren't that many wars. So I'm just saying this from my perspective. There were wars, I understand that, but I was not aware of them. So I would go back to that time in my life where ignorance was bliss. I wouldn't be that much interested to going back to any specific era or event, just because only in my lifetime as women we've had a lot of rights. So yeah, I think this is the best time to be a woman. So I would stay within my lifetime.
Interesting, yes, observation, actually, yes. Because actually, we have like more choices also in the past, but actually this is an interesting point that you point out, yeah. That probably as a man we do not think this, yeah. Thanks,
Yes,
yeah.
but yeah. Where would you go back?
For example, in my case, I think the Bell Epoch. I don't know. It's like because I love I have the feeling that time was at that time more elegant, more good manners. While today it seems everything so fast and a lot of bad manners today. So something like very charming and see these nice dresses, people going these
Oh yeah,
clubs.
like like that's cool. I usually like to see that on movies.
Yeah, it's always fascinating. Yeah.
But now that you say that, one place, one event or era I'd be very interesting to see was either just before the Mayan civilization disappeared, or just like one of these lost cities that just completely disappeared and we don't know what happened to them. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. And another question, if you could go back 10 years from now, what will you tell to yourself? What will you suggest, or doing something different, or now based on today's experience?
I think I wouldn't say much, just because I wouldn't have the experience to listen. It's like the only reason why I would listen to the advice I would give myself today is because I've lived the experience. If you would have told me 10 years ago that everything will be okay, or to be patient or whatever, I would just straight away go into worrying mode as to why someone is telling me that. So it wouldn't have been productive for me. The only thing I would say is wear sunscreen so that your skin looks nice for a very long time. That would be the only advice.
Yeah, that is a good advice. It's actually very good. Yeah. And last question, if you could live anywhere in the world, which place would you choose to live?
So I've already moved a few times in my life, and currently I live in Canada, and I really like where I live. So I think I would stay here for a while. It'll be nice to live in a small on a small, like, super sunny, nice tropical island, but I don't think that would be very practical. So maybe for a very, very short time I would like to live on an isolated island as well.
You need a lot of sun cream there.
Yes. I'll be covered.
Thank you so much, Anna, for your time for this interview. It was really interesting, and we got to know you, and also your, view as a indexer, and also your view on women in crypto. So thank you very much for your time today, and wish you a very good day and good work.
Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure to speak to you as well.